In the ancient world of the Bible, cities were often fortified with protective walls to defend against potential threats from enemies. People risked their lives by standing in the wall gap and fighting the enemy to protect it. In Ezekiel chapter 22 verse 30, God sought someone to stand in the gap and build a wall on behalf of the land to prevent its destruction. Unfortunately, his efforts were rendered void. For a need for someone to stand in the gap to arise, there must be a crisis. This verse from the Bible conveys the idea that there was a lack of righteous people who could intercede and stand in the gap for the land and prevent its destruction. God was looking for someone to intercede on behalf of the people. Building the wall of righteousness involves aligning your thoughts, words, ethics, and virtues with God's plan and purpose. Standing in the gap requires being willing to go against the tide, to speak up for what is right, and to take action in the face of opposition. Some of the transgressions against God by the Israelites included idolatry, worshipping false gods, disobeying God's commandments, engaging in immoral behavior, mistreating the poor and vulnerable, and committing acts of injustice and violence. Ezekiel stood in the gap on behalf of the people of Israel. Ezekiel was in Babylon during the time he received his visions and prophecies. The wall of the Israelites refers to the ancient city walls of Jerusalem, particularly during the time of the Israelites in biblical history. One of the well-known remains of the Second Temple, and a place of great significance to Jews is the Western Wall, sometimes referred to as the Wailing Wall. The distance between Jerusalem and Babylon is about 1,200 kilometers. Distance is not a barrier when it comes to things of the Spirit. Ezekiel acted as a mediator between the people and God, interceding for them and calling them to repentance. In Ezekiel's case, intercession was needed to appeal to God on behalf of the people, asking for his intervention and mercy despite their wrongdoings. To intercede in prayer is to be like a bold warrior in battle. There must be prayer warriors willing to stand in the gap and fight. When Israel worshipped the golden calf despite seeing great and wondrous works of God, it was Moses who stood in the gap pleading before God. Abraham interceded for Sodom. Moses interceded for Israel. Abigail interceded for Nabal. God is still seeking people to stand in the gap for his people. He wants us to pray, serve, and be thoughtful to the needs of his people. Instead of getting worked up about how terrible everything is around you, stand in the gap and pray. Identify evil strongholds in your family and intercede. Pray for Christians who are yoked with the world and celebrate life carnally. We are called to pray not only for ourselves but also for others, for our communities, nations, and the world. We are called to be faithful stewards of our gifts, talents, and opportunities, using them for the greater good and the glory of God. Are we willing to be the ones who stand in the gap for those who need help, guidance, or support? God is looking for people who will rise and make a difference. He is looking for individuals willing to build up the walls of righteousness, justice, and love in a world filled with brokenness and division. Let us be inspired to be the ones who stand in the gap. Let us be the ones who make a difference in the lives of others. Let us be the ones who intercede in prayer and seek the welfare of our communities and nations. May we be the ones who bring hope, healing, and restoration to a world in need. May we heed the lessons learned from this verse and strive to be the ones who rebuild the walls of righteousness in our communities and beyond. May we always remember that God is with us, empowering and guiding us as we stand in the gap. Thank you for watching this video. Please press the like button, smash the subscribe button, share, and leave a comment.